The Carsey School's mission is to address pressing public issues. We do this in three ways. We do a lot in terms of our research, which is, you know, significantly accessible, rigorous, unbiased, and applied, deeply relevant to the nonprofit community. We offer 4 master's programs that I'll be talking about in just a little bit that provide students with research, policy, and political skills. And we do an enormous amount in terms of engaging with communities across New Hampshire, in New England, and nationally. And our work in this area is really critical to who we are. So we don't just see ourselves as a research and education shop, but also as a place that is engaging with communities in several different ways. And the school came about in the early 2000s, supported by a woman named Carsey, who was an English graduate here. And she's a television producer. And many of you may be saying, oh, I've never heard of Carsey, but you probably have seen the 30 or so situation comedies that she produced. They include Roseanne, Happy Days, Mork and Mindy, That 70s Show, The Cosby Show, etc. And Marcy was really interested in developing initially research that focused on families and women, work, and communities in the 21st century. We've since expanded and become a really large national resource for applied research across a range of different areas. Our 4 focus areas in research are the Center for Demography, headed up by Ken Johnson, and that takes a look at how demographic change affects every part of our lives. This is immigration in and out of the state, both nationally and then and internationally, of course, and a whole host of different kinds of demographic factors that affect public policy and which, of course, public policy affects. Our second is the Center for Engaged Communities, run by Michelle Holt-Shannon. And that has got a very strong New Hampshire focus. A key component is New Hampshire Listens. They do work on civic health and social trust. They do a lot of work with schools and are beginning something called the New Hampshire Education Collaborative. Lots of work on housing and resident-owned communities. And an enormous amount of work helping facilitate conversations, particularly over difficult and controversial issues. The Center for Impact Finance focuses on community development and financial models, and that might sound boring, but it's actually critical, and it's critical for many, many nonprofits. So if you're talking about energy policy, efficiency, housing development, et cetera. The big thing that the Center for Impact Finance is it works with banks to help them have better conversations with both communities and nonprofits to understand them. Banks are not always so effective at having those kinds of conversations. And similarly, working with communities and nonprofits to help them think about better financial models to do the kinds of development and project work that they want to do. And lastly, Jess Carson heads up the Center for Social Policy and Practice that does an enormous amount of work on early child care and has something called the Early Care and Education Research Consortium that has now expanded far beyond New Hampshire. And they are a cutting-edge center doing work in child care, women and children issues broadly, and a whole set of, food access, et cetera. Lots and lots of work being developed there, looking at and analyzing public policy issues. On the education side, we have 4 academic master's programs. 3 of them are online. Some are synchronous, which means that classes are scheduled. Some are asynchronous. Classes are done at your own pace. And our Master's in Public Policy program is in person. The Community Development Master's program is specifically focused on community development issues, finance, leadership in that area, analysis, and different components of community development. Our Global Conflict and Human Security program has a broader focus, oftentimes focusing on conflict and conflict resolution, and project design and management, and sometimes with both a domestic and international focus. Our MPA is probably our largest program. That's a general master's in public administration that develops skills in management, budgeting, leadership, strategic planning, policy analysis. That program is completely online. And then our one in-person program is our master's in public policy. And that is much more directly focused on strategic communication, policy advocacy, analysis and evaluation, and policy design. All of these programs have opportunities to do in-person work. We have a new community engagement course that creates an in-person opportunity for our online cohort with some online work. And we also have something called the DC Colloquium, in which students go with me. I'll be there in January, to go and meet with a wide variety of government, nonprofit, and for-profit policy actors across the DC policy landscape. And that's a pretty amazing trip. We typically do 20 to 22 visits in a 5-day period in government and nonprofits all across DC. We're really proud of these programs. They help develop skills, they expand career opportunities for folks. They oftentimes let people pivot in their careers or sort of fill in the gaps in terms of thinking about what their next steps are as they're advocating their own mission. And we absolutely conceive of ourselves as a public service school that is focused on serving the public good. And we think that resonates really well with our partnerships with the nonprofit community. There's a variety of different kinds of benefits that we think about when we think about our relationship with the New Hampshire nonprofit community. The first is that we have an enormous bedrock of research. We have Carsey publications that are available online for free. And many of those research publications go far beyond just the focus areas of our 4 research centers, but address taxation and homelessness and housing and education policy, et cetera. So I really encourage you to check that out. Secondly, every month we have a Carsey Policy Hour. Our most recent one was actually yesterday, focused on housing availability and its relevance to workforce and economic development. And almost always there's a strong connection there to policy-focused topics that resonate with the nonprofit community. Again, you can jump on our website, the Carsey Policy Hours there, and you can sign up to get the monthly meeting announcements. We just published the 2024 Local Civic Health Guide, analyzing civic health across the state of New Hampshire. We are doing a lot of work thinking about civic health and civic engagement. We have a wide variety of impact finance trainings, many of which are free or considerably subsidized through grant programs. Some are self-paced, some are class-oriented, some have a small fee. And that's not just in impact finance. We also do other kinds of trainings focused on civic engagement or community engagement processes. The last thing before I start talking about our educational programs is that our students have requirements for capstones and or internships. And we encourage partnerships with both municipalities and nonprofits in a variety of ways. And so we really like to work with those partners. And if you are have got a specific problem you're trying to figure out that needs a policy analysis or some backgrounding or an options evaluation document, you should reach out to us and we can work to see if we can match you up with an appropriate and skilled student to work on your project. Sometimes for free, sometimes for a very reduced amount. We have a variety of support for our students in this context. And lastly, Carsey students inhabit the New Hampshire nonprofit ecosystem. Right now, we've got a huge amount of our students are in the nonprofit arena right now, and we're really proud of that. The last thing that I want to talk about is our partner scholarships with the New Hampshire Center for Nonprofits and graduate programs. But you'll note on the bottom there that I've noted that Robin Huslage's email, and Robin is online with us right now. She is the linchpin for our academic team and just an amazing contributor. So I just wanted to call her out and a great person to contact for additional questions. We have a 20% tuition discount for our 4 Carsey master's degree programs. And I want to be clear that that tuition discount does not extend to UNH more broadly. It is solely for Carsey's 4 programs. And we really develop those tuition partnerships because of our public service mission. All members of the New Hampshire Center for Nonprofits are eligible for this, and there's a mechanism to do that, and quite literally that tuition discount is applied on to the student's account each semester that it comes in, and there's a process for that. And I should note also that that is only for students who are registered for a full master's with the Carsey School. So I'm going to stop there. There may be some additional questions. But we're incredibly happy to support the state and in particular the nonprofits that do so much good work around the state and for its citizens. So thanks very much, and I look forward to answering questions. I'm really pleased to have this opportunity.